And thank you very much, everyone, for what we are doing. I'm very glad to see we're not going to go home and relax. Let's remember our training. Let's not celebrate too soon. There's quite a lot more to be done. Thank you.
Okay, giving a vote of thanks. And you people who clapped. Is that the case?
Yes.
Good. Very good. Okay. Right. Okay. He still wants to talk. He says he wants AOB. He wants to deny you guys from going to the beach. You cannot talk again. But allow you only 1 minute to talk about strategic planning. Right. Quickly, please. Let me see hands up if you have an AOB. 1, 2. Is there another hand up? If you really have to speak. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's it. And there's a short one here. 1 minute we've agreed. Just tell you about strategic planning. Right. So let me start with my sister, and then I go to another sister, and then 2 brothers. I need to make 2 or 3 remarks, maybe 3 or 4 remarks, and then I will ask Brian Heap to come and close the meeting for us so that we can move to the next agenda of maybe networking later and relax. But let me ask Kevin, he's got an issue, very important issue. As you know, we want to move to the next phase of our strategic plan, and it's just to make an announcement really on how we're going to move forward from here. Kevin.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair. The phase 6 strategic plan is ending by December next year. So we've already started the process of thinking where we are taking the vision for the next time. And the vision of ATPS are your visions. So please do write down the key issues, subject areas, anything that you really want us to consider, because the board has kindly agreed to have a retreat of the board members in February to start pulling together initial ideas of how to move forward. And then, as we did for this one, you'll be receiving emails from us, receiving phone calls. Please, national chapters, stakeholders, send us your views so that we'll make sure that we'll build a strategic plan that addresses the issues in Africa. Then, alongside that is also the report, the biennial report on the state of science, technology, and innovation in Africa, which is an implementation activity of the manifesto launched in Egypt. Already, the UNESCO, I was with them a few weeks ago, where they were trying to form a global observatory on science and technology, and they were asking, has the report for Africa been started? They want to support it because they feel it's something that will be of global relevance. And we cannot do it without you. So please, we are going to be, a committee working on that will also be contacting you, please, so that you can send us data, give us information on who to reach in your country, and also liaise with your national chapter coordinators to make sure that you are fully engaged in making that happen. Those are my agenda, my jobs. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Kevin. In a way of closing, I just want to remind you that this is an African agenda. This is my really concern when I look at the issue of membership. We still have countries that have got 1 member. 1 member. Do we have Botswana in the audience? I don't want to read all of them. Burkina Faso, 1 member. Cote d'Ivoire, 9. Liberia, 1. Madagascar, 1. Morocco, 1. Niger, 1. Sierra Leone, 5. South Africa, 7. Swaziland, 8. I'm mentioning the ones which are 10 and below. And then we have Zambia, 2. Burundi, of course, the newcomers, 1. All right? So when I do my analysis here, I see just about 4 countries dominating. Of course, Kenya is at the top, I'm told. And then we have Nigeria. But about 4 countries doing about 60 to 70% of the membership. Now, you can imagine if you are sending that to a donor and they're really going to scrutinize and check and say, this is touching Africa. But you can see you're only dealing with about 5 countries or so. What can we do, you as an agent of change, in your countries? Next year, when we come and meet again, I'm requesting you kindly, please, we would like this scenario to change. And you can proudly come and we shake hands and say, Prof, you said it, I've done it, I had only 10 and now I'm 30. And I think that is good progress. All right? You can also be able to extend your networks to the neighborhood in other countries that I've mentioned, and people that you know, and say, hey, we have woken up. We are doing a lot of things in ATPS. Why don't you guys join us? Secondly, the other thing that is coming up here, it is no longer transaction, but transformation. If you continue doing what you've been doing, you'll continue getting what you've been getting. And this has got to change. And this has got to change. So it's an issue of transformation. It's an issue of governance. The recommendations that have been put before us today is an issue of how you play your role in contributing towards the development of the strategic direction of this very important meeting. And we'd like to urge you, when we go back, can we have more seminars? I want to talk to the ED. I hope I'll be able to create some time so that I can be able myself and some other colleagues in the board be able to visit some chapters, not necessarily the country level. We can bring the neighbors, you know, so that you can have maybe 3-4 chapters, and we can be able to come and talk to you. Introduce us to your ministers, introduce us to your presidents, if possible, and we'll be more than happy to knock their doors and have courtesy call to them and tell them how this thing is important for Africa. So we want to urge you, get prepared. We want to come outside there and be able to engage. This is an order, ED,
Thank you,
that
sir.
the board members will
Thank you,
really
sir.
want to go.
Thank you, sir.
So that we can continue engaging with you, and we hope we'll be able to create time. Lastly, we have to do fundraising. We have to look for resources. And I think if you're going to a donor or developing partner, and they're able to see that you are able to contribute at the national level, I think it gives us an upper hand.
Yeah.
So we want to urge you to look at your science, technology, innovation institutions in your country. Go and pay a courtesy call. Use our brochures. Use our pamphlets. Use our information and say, we have this organization. And I am the one that is representing this country. We would like to work with you. So that next time when we come here, we can be able to hear more of engagement, more of dialogue, more of partnership, and more of inclusiveness in each one of us in our own respective countries. I promised you it's going to be short. I would like to stop at this point and to sincerely thank all of you. You have a day or so between today and tomorrow. Kindly, please, if you have not sampled the diversity of culture and all nice things in Mombasa, get an opportunity to do that. And when you travel back home, we would like to wish you all the safe journey and journey masses. And, you know, we look forward to seeing you again. But let's not stop communication. We can still engage in the discussion via email as well. It is now my pleasure to invite Brian, one of board members, to come and officially close this gathering, our general annual meeting, after he's made his few remarks. Brian, you need an hour?
I spoke earlier in the week, but for me this has been a week of celebration, because Monday started with a celebration in Brussels of the European Academy's Science Advisory Council, its 10th birthday. And the purpose of that council is to provide scientific advice to the European institutions, the European Parliament, the Council of Ministers, and the European Commission. And here is another continent that has focused on science policy dialogue. And of course that's been the theme that's been running through this week. And it is a special theme because there's a lot of countries these days that are recognizing the importance of science and technology as fundamental to their sustainable development and also to their economic development. And I'm so pleased that this program is also looking at not just economic development, not just not making money, but also looking after the environment and making sure that the impact on the environment is a sustainable one. And so I want to congratulate you as a member of the board for the excellent presentations we've heard during the course of the week, your focus on the science and policy dialogue, which I think is so important, and the fact that you've been able to do this in Mombasa, the hometown of our chairman. So, just in conclusion, I'm sure we'd want to wish him every success. We know that he's going to lead ATPS in a very positive way for the future, and that it is going to have a big impact on what is achieved in African countries. And just to conclude, I just want to take a photograph from the front, and the reason I want to do this is because a very good friend of mine who died just recently, a very good friend of mine from Cambridge, was once giving a very distinguished lecture in London to a very big audience. And in the middle of his lecture, he took out his camera because he was a very keen photographer, and he took a photograph of the audience. And the reason he did this was because he wanted to send them all a picture so that they could see whether they were still awake or not.
Our tea and coffee, they are ready now. And secondly, the dinner will start, the dinner that is coined Swahili dinner. Is starting by 7 p.m. today at the photo ground outside there. So please, we close. You can just go and keep your bags and come out for this dinner. Very important for us. Also, I'm being told we may have an AGM photo after this session, so we can just move out, have the photo, take tea and coffee, go and drop our bags, and come back for the dinner. Again, please, I'm not finished. We have some publications that have arrived lately, so you may like to pick some more copies for yourselves and for your libraries. For those of you who will be traveling tonight and maybe tomorrow, the hotel is advising us that if you are, anytime you have to travel, you need to be at the lobby and speak with the receptionist or the guest relations officer at least 2.5 hours before the time you are supposed to depart to enable them arrange for logistics for your departure. Thank you so much, and thank you.